We're at Hicks Outdoors in Clio. We're going to put some rumors to rest. We've got Mark Kearly with us. We've got Ryan and Chuck who are going to be doing some demonstrating when it comes to shooting. We've got crossbow, a compound bow, and Mark, we're going to talk about speed, kinetic energy. Let's talk about what we're going to do out here with our test.
Well, what we're going to do is prove once and for all the performance characteristics of these bows. Since the crossbow legislation has come into effect, we get 100 questions a day about how far can I shoot, how much drop, how much energy, and today we're going to show from different distances exactly what these bows will do.
All right, now we've got a chronograph set up behind us, right?
Absolutely. We're going to shoot from 20, 30, 40, and 50 yards. We're going to measure speed, kinetic energy, and the amount of drop in the arrow. We are testing the exact same weight arrows and bolts, or 440 grains, and we'll see what happens here in a minute.
All right, well, let's put them to the test. We've got our crossbow, we've got our compound bow, we've got Ryan and Chuck, our shooters.
So for the initial setup, what we're going to do is we're going to sight in the crossbow and the bow each at 20 yards. The dot on the right will be for the crossbow, and the dot on the left will be for the compound. And then we'll step back accordingly and measure the distance of the drop. Today's setup from the 20-yard stake, we're shooting a 10-point laser. It's a 185-pound bow, shooting a 440 grain bolt. Shoots 306 feet per second at the chronograph. We'll see what it does from 20 yards.
I'm on it. Looks like the crossbow has dropped a little more from 40 yards, and one of the things, we had a guy on earlier in the year, Don Williams, he's a world champion, crossbow shooter, and that's what he talked about, Mark, was when you get out to that 40-yard mark, people tend to forget it does drop a little bit more.
We're seeing it right here, Tim. The bow's staying real consistent, about a 6-inch drop for each 10 yards we move back. The crossbow at 20 dead on, about a 6-inch drop here at 30, really starts to taper off at 40.
Okay, so now let's take a look at it from 50 yards, and do you see the pattern?
Absolutely, it really starts to drop off at 50, but the bow does also, so everything starts losing energy there. It's going to be interesting to see what they do through the chronograph.
Let me ask you this, is this what you expected with the drop?
Not really. We've heard it all along. We wanted to see it for ourselves today, though. Okay, we're at the 20-yard stake again. We're going to shoot through the center of the chronograph, and we want to measure speed at 20 yards. We shot 306 at the muzzle, so we're going to see exactly what we get here with the crossbow and the bow both at 20 yards.
All right, Chuck's our man, and Chuck's going to take the shot. Okay, so we've got the crossbow ready to go.
All set and ready to go. We're shooting the 440 grain bolt at 20 yards. We're going to measure the speed, see how it does against the compound.
Got that.
Alrighty, the bow and the crossbow, real similar characteristics out to 30 yards. What we see past 30 is the crossbow start to drop off as far as trajectory, but it stays right there with speed and kinetic energy. So you might have to judge a little more on an animal, a little longer range, but as far as the energy and the speed, it's still got it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that, I think it kind of, I don't know if it dispels what people have been thinking. What do you think?
It kind of reinforces it. We've always heard all along that crossbows drop off at longer range. We've seen it today. It looks like a little bit of the aerodynamic efficiency. There's a difference between an arrow and a bolt. So we're going to have to leave it at that.
All right, well, Mark, thanks a lot for giving the demonstration today.
Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Mark Kearly has been our host here at Hicks Outdoors in Clio. I'm Tim Hart. You're watching The Big Buck Bull.